So I just want to go to another aspect, is supermarkets. There's an argument that there is a lack of competition in supermarkets, which has basically contributed to the so-called cost of living crisis, be it real or not. But given the fact that Aldi came here in 2001 and now has 12% market share of supermarkets, that Costco came in 2009, now has 1 or 2% market share, how can there be a lack of competition in that space driving up consumer prices?
There is first a very significant market share held by Coles and Woolworths individually, but together approximately 67%.
But they're not one, they're still two competing against each other.
They are two. What we have observed, and we will be issuing our final report soon, so I'm going to talk in broad terms. We have observed competitive impact in certain areas of the offerings, but not across all areas of the offerings. We welcome absolutely the competition that has been brought by Aldi and Costco. Manifestly, it strongly applies in relation to the products and services they each focus closely on. What we are drawing attention to is the overall and broader set of offerings and categories, and the question about how vigorously those competitive constraints have applied across the whole of the offerings.
Okay, but if they were forced in the future to divest of supermarkets, wouldn't that work against competition or the servicing of some communities?
The ACCC has not looked at or commented on the question of divestiture. We are looking at the structure and the level of competition as we currently see. We are considering questions about whether sitting at a local, state, territory, even council level, there are very lengthy regulatory processes that cause delays for the expansion of existing competing chains, including the IGA chains and independents. So we are asking ourselves, what are the possible ways of introducing greater competition? Okay.
One final one for you. This is about merger reform. In the past, generally, you would find out about a merger or a takeover after it had occurred. In the future, under new laws, you will actually be front and foremost in the decisions as to whether that merger can go ahead, whether it's anti-competitive. Now, it starts from January next year, 2026, but it's voluntary from July 1 this year. You are renowned as being one of the great competition lawyers that Australia has ever had. If one of your clients came and said, should we actually report this voluntarily, you'd have said no 100 times out of 100, wouldn't you?
Not necessarily.
Oh, okay, 99 out of 100 times.
It depended upon my assessment of whether there was a potential competitive impact.
But the truth is they have to do it.
That is right.
January.
The change will be.
That means the ACCC is
mandatory.
right in the middle, yes.
Yes, and some part of the interesting dynamic of that question, Ross, is we want to remove that doubt or that question for transactions that are important in terms of their size and impact. We want to ensure that the ACCC sees them and is able to prevent transactions that are likely to have an anti-competitive effect, at the same time recognising we will ensure that it's fast, clear and certain for the vast majority of transactions which do not give rise to a risk of anti-competitive effect.
You are determined to make certain that Australia does not continue to be the land of the great duopoly, aren't you?
Yes, we are, and we are actually charged to promote competition.
Gina Cass-Gottlieb, always great to chat to you. Many thanks for your time.
It's a pleasure.